where the feds are now ordering border states with no law, Bob, to report more than one semi-automatic handgun or rifle being sold. I mean, that's extrajudicial. They're just doing that without law. And it's the same thing with the EPA. The Congress wouldn't pass their greenhouse gas takeover, so they're just doing it. And they've now seized control of the Texas permitting process with no authority, and literally will shut down many of the power plants in Texas. And they have no force of law behind them. They're just doing it.
They just do what they want to do. And I'm afraid we've said that on this program innumerable times. And they're going to continue to just stay outside the law and do it until people bring legal action against them, counties, cities, say, no, we're not going to do that. And once you have one case, it's over, because they'll have to stop. But it's the process that you have to go through. It's just like the regulatory agencies, the CFTC and the SEC. You file a complaint, they're arrogant, nasty, and never follow up on it. All they do is protect the ensconced bankers that are on Wall Street, etc.
Well, you said it. We know there was a Bilderberg Group deal 2 years ago struck in Turkey dealing with Texas power plants. I'll tell folks about that when we come back.
We are on the march. The empire is on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
All right, I'm going to take some more of your calls and get into the big news. Bob's going to break here today. And we're going to talk to Max Kaiser coming up the next hour. Continue with your phone calls here on our last broadcast of 2010. I'll be back Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. with the first broadcast of 2011. But I wanted to tell you about a wonderful sponsors that make this broadcast possible. One of them is End of America, the number 3.com. Stansbury and Associates Investment Research is an independent investment research firm founded in 1999 with subscribers in more than 100 different countries. Again, Stansbury and Associates Investment Research is an independent investment research firm founded in 1999 with subscribers in more than 100 different countries. They recently created an eye-opening video that you can see at End of America, the number 3.com for free, detailing their biggest and most important prediction yet. And it goes on, the website is End of America, the number 3.com. Excellent information. And if you missed that, there's banners up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. And finally, Interfood, wonderful superfood. We live in a toxic environment daily. We are bombarded with the chemtrails, the fluorides, the pesticides. Battling a sneeze there for the last minute, folks. And other equally toxic chemicals. It's very important that people understand that most of the vitamins you eat just get passed through you. But with superfood, non-pasteurized 20 superfoods in their Interfood product, just one of their great products, you absorb almost all of it instead of just passing it through you. The website is enerfood.com, interfood.com. They have some specials and some Alex Jones combos for listeners, so you can get discounts. So be sure and look for those on the site, or also when you call 866-762-9238, 866-762-9238. And don't forget, good old Bob Chapman with the internationalforecaster.com. If you want to get a free complimentary copy, a hard copy or an email copy, you can call Midas Resources, and they'll send you a free complimentary copy, 800-686-2237, 800-686-2237, or the internationalforecaster.com. Just briefly, some of the main players at the 2007, so I guess it's 3 years ago now, Bilderberg Group meeting that was held over in Istanbul, over in Turkey, were big players trying to take over the power plants in Texas. And Rick Perry's been involved in that, so he was taken to the meeting, and he was a guest at the meeting, and now you know he's gearing up to run for president. The more he denies it, the more you know that's going to happen. And there's big money in shutting down smaller regional power plant systems and only letting the biggies operate. And that's what this EPA takeover is about. And Texas produces more power than any other state. It's the second most populous state, but it supplies power to surrounding states. And they're really trying to shut it down. And it's very clean. The government has aircraft that fly around in Cessnas every day above the power plants. If they pick up any pollutants, they go absolutely ape. It's what supplies our power. Now, China has none of these controls on them. They're building several new power plants a week. We only build a few a year that get permitted. This is a military-style takeover of globalism to shut off our industry. Bob, I have to say, though, Perry since then has stood up against the takeover of the power plants, and so has the Attorney General. And now the feds have come in, as I talked about earlier, and said, we're going to have federal permitting now. We're revoking the state's right to issue permits when that's outside their jurisdiction. But the EPA is trying to enforce something that they couldn't get Congress to pass. I mean, this is an impeachable offense on its face, is it not?
It certainly is. And this is the policy model of corporatist fascism, the agglomeration of everything in every sphere into a monopoly. All the power projects that are operating in the country and any that are going to be built, they want to control them all. All of the production of automobiles in the United States, they want to control them all. The building of homes, they've been in negotiations for over 2 years with some major builders to consolidate the industry into a half dozen producers of homes. And what better time when the whole housing business is in trouble and will continue to be. And they're going to do the same thing in banking and in Wall Street and in many, many spheres. And this is an evolutionary process which is assisted by Keynesianism, which to me is nothing more than an economic and monetary plan for the imposition of a fascist government. This is what this all leads to.
Well, you're absolutely right. Let's continue with calls and get into your big news and some other items that are very important I want to cover. Matt in Florida, you're on the air with Bob Chapman. Thanks for holding.
I'd like to wish you a happy New Year's Eve. I have a few quick points I wanted to run through real quick. For 2010, I wanted to thank the Obama administration for really throwing the socialism in our face to help us wake up more people once they realized, what he truly was. I want to let you know, I want to thank you for breaking that story about the Tampa Police Department yesterday. We Are Change Tampa is planning a peaceable assembly at the Tampa police headquarters on this upcoming Tuesday at 3 o'clock. So anybody who'd like to join us out there in the Tampa area, you're welcome to. I wanted to tell you I'm looking forward to 9/11/11, the 10th anniversary of 9/11. I'm sure there's going to be some big things going on that day as far as trying to get 9/11 truth. And I wanted to let you know that if you want to come out and film for Police State 5, you can bet that the Republican National Convention in Tampa is going to be a lockdown police state. I've already talked to a couple local police officers, and they say they're already training for it. So.
Very interesting. A good job with what you guys are doing down there. And that's the most exciting thing about the awakening I'm seeing. There are so many websites and radio talk show hosts now that really get it and really have piercing analysis now that weren't even around a year or two ago. There are so many organizations out there confronting corruption and making news. This has got the system really scared, and the town halls being shut down, the politicians being routed. That's happening across the political spectrum. Congress with the lowest approval rating in history. There's no way they're going to get away with this police state without the consent of the governed, Bob.
Oh, I think you're right, and you've described the method, which is what we've been doing, and we just keep on doing it until we can't do it anymore or we're successful.
Let's take another call. Julio in Illinois, you're on the air with Bob Chapman.
Alex Jones, Happy New Year to you. Bob Chapman, Happy New Year to you as well. A bunch of points leading to 2011. First off, my roommate and I and his brother, we recently purchased and are taking the shackles off of our fiat slavery system. We purchased silver from Midas Resources, so we're excited about that and getting ourselves prepared for the inevitable. Some things looking forward to 2011. Number one is weather modification. You're currently seeing it all throughout the world now. I saw this. I'm surprised you guys really didn't talk about this much. This is from CNS News from December 17th of 2010. Napolitano and Homeland Security to begin battling climate change as a Homeland Security issue.
Yeah, I did cover that. And see, Homeland Security is going to be over everything. And they are announcing, no judge, no jury, they are going to be the new green police. And battling climate change means having every post office vehicle with, quote, pollution detectors and wireless systems, stealing your wireless data, surveilling you, driving around snooping, claiming they got, some whiff of something toxic from your house. Now they have supposed probable cause for the federal green police, and this is going to be their entree into your home, into your business, into your society. It is really happening, and I'm glad you raised that point. Another issue is we have the Pentagon's admissions. We have Secretary of Defense William Cohen's admission in Army Times in the April issue of 1997 from a press conference admitting they have weather weapons. We have literally hundreds of patents of how they mix it with the jet fuel, so the airlines don't even know, to create these aerosol programs. And we are seeing a lot of crazy weather, but it's not the global warming. It's always associated with these geoengineering programs. They've got massive floods in Australia, record cold now in the last 1,000 years in Europe. And clearly there's weather manipulation going on. Bob Chapman, your take.
Well, it sure is. It's cold just about everywhere, even with the summertime. And, of course, that's accompanied by cold rain as well and flooding. And I lived in Europe for years, and I guess probably unless you're in the mountains, you don't see any snow in Europe usually, in Central Europe, and they're getting plenty of it.
Absolutely. Anything else, Julio?
Yeah, I got another couple of quick points here. I'll quickly go through them. Sports. The NFL and the NBA, they're going to go on strike, and here's why. Everyone knows the fluoride heads love sports. I wanted to be a sports broadcaster until I was awakened by you and John Perkins and Bob Chapman. Now I want to be an investigative reporter. I was watching just Bloomberg recently. Goldman Sachs has their heads with the NFL, trying to get them to silence their books about how much money they're receiving. The NBA, David Stern, he's a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. So with these two big entities going away, what are these fluoride heads going to do without their precious sports? So look at it in England too. Barcelona and Real Madrid and all those English Premier clubs, they're unable to pay their athletes. So again, in Europe,
well, I mean, exactly. And I appreciate your call, Julio. It's not so much that the public's dumb. The average schmo is an expert on football or baseball and all the numbers and statistics and what happened this year or that year. But then they won't learn about the Bill of Rights and Constitution. They won't learn about corporate fascism. They won't learn about how they use socialism to fund the corporate fascist in the first phase. They want to just stay in their little box. But as things get worse and worse, more and more people are getting it. I mean, it's obscene how much people invest in sports and get upset by it and are protesting that they're going to shut down 2 NFL games, because of the snow, when